All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go into the settings and fix that for future meetings.
Okay, it's recording now.
Yeah.
And
Thanks,
and
Gabriella.
this was the
It warned
doctor who was
everyone.
coming out to the house, right? They were supposed, right on the
Yes,
verge of
okay.
probably getting the vaccine and being able to take it to the patient. They said, well, we're not in network for you. So, sorry.
Thanks, Tyler. Tyler, have you changed the
She said,
settings so in
"That's okay,
future?
I'll pay the difference." Well, whatever.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. I'm gonna go in and change some things, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Hey, Gabriella, very nice to see you.
How are you?
I'm well, how are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you.
Gabriella, I really enjoyed your book. I mean, really, really wonderfully written.
Well, thank you, thank you. I'm excited to be with you. Second time, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I sent your website address to everybody who's participating. So hopefully there'll be some sales of your book as well.
Okay, that's nice. I'm working on a new book.
Oh, what is this one about?
Well, I have so many Holocaust-related sculptures.
Yes.
I myself didn't know how many. So I started to put them together. I have 50. I think I have the biggest collection in the world.
Wow. Yes.
Pieces. And I will call it The Agony of the Holocaust. And I have a sculpture. I will show it on my presentation.
Yes.
So this is my last sculpture of the Holocaust.
Right.
So,
Right. Okay. And we should talk about coming here one day if things get a little simpler. There's a wonderful art museum just down the road. But yeah, I think things are going to remain complicated for a while yet. Gabriella, just coming back into view is Emily Saxon. Can you see her on the screen?
I do. Hi, Emily. Nice.
I'll say a few words of introduction and of welcome to everybody, but Emily will introduce you and then she will moderate the Q&A session.
Great, thank you.
So yeah, I mean, typically it's, yeah, I hope this works out with you, but we're very flexible anyway. But usually the speaker will talk for about, say, 40-45 minutes, and then we open it up to questions, and then Emily will field the questions. Will that work with you?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
This is how my presentation is usually.
Great, thank you. Okay, so yeah, people will join over the course of the next 10 minutes, and then we'll make a start.
Okay, why don't we try if everything is working here?
Oh yes, good point. Yeah.
Okay, let's share the screen.
Tyler is our technical genius, so he could fix anything if it doesn't work.
Genius is very questionable.
Come on, take the compliment.
I need the genius here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I see share the screen, but nothing happened. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, let me close everything here.
John, is there a way that you can increase the volume?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That the second remote.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, there we go. Yes.
Okay, your lines. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. At the moment, it's in what is that view? Is that speaker view or something like that? Is that?
Because I cannot see if you see right now.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, I think right now she just has it in like the slides view. Whenever she goes to present, she can put it into presentation and it'll be like the full screen.
So yeah, Gabriella, what can you see?
Well, I just see my presentation, but I
Oh,
don't
yes.
see it like it will be.
Do you see? Oh, I see that on the what is that kind of pinky orange bar at the top? So the top of the page, and then yes, so just above that is view options. So if you move your cursor up to the top of your page, you'll see there's a black
I
tab.
have written there, Gabriella, virtual presentation, but this is just for me to know because I have about like 10 different presentations.
If you move, yeah, if you go right to, can you go right to the top of the page?
So I would like just my business card, like Gabriella Karin.
Yeah.
You see my picture?
Gregory, I am in a Zoom.
You're in a Zoom meeting, but that was harder than us.
Can you see that?
Yeah, we can see that. Yeah, if you you can click on a tab at the top of the screen, and then you can choose a different way of seeing it. So if you put your cursor straight up, that's it, straight up.
I did click like I usually click on the.
Gabriella, it says slide right under the orange at the top of the screen.
So go to your, yeah, that's it, and then straight across, go straight across to the right.
I click on it on.
No. Move your cursor to the right.
Go to the right.
About to the middle of the screen.
Yeah, so move it across horizontally.
So I should put you horizontally.
There's a button underneath the horizontal orange bar that says slideshow. And you should click the slideshow label.
Okay.
Yeah. That.
Okay.
Yes, brilliant. Okay, good.
Okay, now
We'll
this is.
open up to show you.
I go back.
Show.
That's it.
Doesn't show me.
Yeah.
Can
Oh,
you see what I see now?
Yes.
Yeah.
First slide.
Yeah. So your first slide now covers most of the screen.
Now let me try if it works.
is this what I wanted to remove?
This is what I want to start with, yes. Let me try to go to the next. It doesn't work. Then I just forward it on my.
Click on that, so it's got the bar.
Oh, it works with my mouse,
Yes.
but I
Yeah.
cannot go back with my mouse. Okay, I can. Go
Yeah,
back.
yeah. If you use the arrows in the bottom right of your keyboard, that should move you back.
Okay, now it works. Now
Yes.
my computer works. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
Good.
I
Okay.
think we are set.
So I think why don't we leave it like that, Gabriella?
Yeah, okay.
And then-
Gabriella, I want to congratulate you. You've just done way more than I could possibly do.
Thank you. Well, I do it very often, almost daily. So.
Okay.
I'm pretty good with the computer so far. I'm working on it for years. I like Photoshop and I do all kind of things. So I did this PowerPoint presentation to a lot of my friends, also Holocaust survivors, older people. They have problem to do it. I said, I'll do it for you. Send me pictures.
Gabriella, at the end of your presentation, perhaps you could just say a few words about how people could purchase your book, and then I'll send a link out as well. Because it can be purchased through Amazon, can't it? But the copy I have was signed by you.
You know, I have a little hard time to understand you.
Oh,
Maybe if you take off a little bit your mask.
sure, yeah.
I don't know if you-
If participants would like a signed copy of your book, are they still able to order it through your website?
Yes,
Okay,
you know how it works.
Mhm.
I get the order right away, as it in minutes after it's placed, and I print a label. I have the books in my house, and I ship it myself.
great,
So this is how it works.
excellent. And I'll send that link around after the presentation again.
So I can, this way I can sign the book.
Great, thank you. So it's just before 5, Gabriella. So I think if we wait maybe a couple of minutes and then we can make a start.
A few more minutes. Good.
Is it a beautiful day out there on the Pacific coast?
It's not sunny
Oh,
for
really?
some reason. I was kind of busy this morning and I went around lunchtime and I was surprised that no sun today.
I'd like to live somewhere where that's a novelty.
Yeah, that's maybe good because it was quite hot.
Right. How far do you live from the ocean?
Pardon?
Do you live close? Do you live near to the sea?
If I live close to the
Yeah.
ocean,
Do you live close to the Pacific Ocean?
not really. It's about 45 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Not too bad.
It's not so far, but no. Everything is half an hour.
Yeah. Right.
Everywhere where you go in Los Angeles is half an hour, at least.
You should speak more slowly with your questions.
Yes. Right. Mhm.
So, do you know Los Angeles at all?
I've never been there. No, only San Diego,
Oh,
which was lovely.
well, you have to come visit.
I'd love to.
We have nice museums here.
Mhm.
Beside 2 Holocaust museums.
Right.
Yeah, one is the oldest in the country, but new building. It's beautiful. And the other one is the Museum of Tolerance. And they also did just now, I was invited to show what remodeling they did through this last year. And it's amazing. So,
Well, yeah. Hopefully soon, I'll be able to bring the family out there. Well, I think we're a couple of minutes past, so we can make a start. So I just want to say a few words of welcome to everybody who's zooming in, and then I'm going to hand over to Emily Saxon, who's going to moderate this session. I can't actually see who's in attendance, but I'm assuming that some people have come back who were participating in our first season. So very warm welcome back to you all. And another warm welcome to those who are joining Town and Gown for the first time. For newcomers, just to repeat that this is a collaboration among Age Alive, which is based in MSU's Department of College of Osteopathic Medicine, East Lansing's Prime Time, and also the Social Science Scholars Program, which I direct, and Emily is a recently graduated member of. So this was an initiative to try and connect university and community, hence Town and Gown, and also to enrich the community to provide opportunities for intellectual engagement. One thing I want to add quickly is that Town and Gown has essentially merged with Great Decisions, which has been run from this room at People's Church in East Lansing, by Sandy Norris, who's here, and Marianne Losley. And this is a really nice relationship to have because we share members and cover much of the same ground. And so some of the presentations every year will be explicitly in collaboration with Great Decisions. You can see that some of us are in person here. We want to ensure that for those who want to attend Town and Gown in person, that that's an option. We just have to be very careful about the numbers, obviously, in this room at People's Church. So we don't have many people here who are in person. So perhaps those who are interested, we can have a sign-up sheet as we go forward for those who feel comfortable to meet in person in a socially distanced manner. So that's all I have to say in introduction. At this point, I'd like to, well, first of all, again, say thanks so much to Gabriella for zooming in and to hand proceedings over to Emily Saxon. So thank you.
Hi, everyone. As Dr. Waller mentioned, I am a recent alum of the MSU Social Science Scholars Program, and so I will be moderating tonight. I'm first just going to explain some of the just structure of how we do these sessions, and then I will introduce our wonderful speaker for today. And then at the end, I also have a brief announcement for another sort of offshoot program related to Town and Gown. So welcome everyone. It's great to see lots of returning faces and new faces. The way that we typically structure a session is our speaker will talk until about 5:45, and then we will leave the remaining time for questions. To kind of preserve the flow of the session, we ask that you reserve your questions until the end. You can either put questions into the chat and type them, and then I can speak them aloud for you, or you can unmute yourself and ask your own question aloud. If you want to ask a question in the chat, you can actually put it into the chat at any point during the session so that you don't have to forget your question, but I will wait to actually read your question aloud until the end. So with that, I am very honored to present today Gabriella Karin, who is a survivor of the Holocaust. Gabriella has been invited to speak at many prestigious venues, including the Holocaust Museum of Los Angeles and the Museum of Tolerance, also in Los Angeles, as well as at schools, synagogues, youth camps, and many other venues. She is dedicated to increasing understanding of the history of the Holocaust so that it is not repeated. Gabriella is also an accomplished artist whose work is inspired by the Holocaust. And last year, she published her memoir, The Extremely Powerful Trauma, Memory, and the Art of Survival, a Holocaust Memoir. That book tells the story of her survival as a Jewish girl in Bratislava, whose family was forced into hiding during the Nazi occupation of Czechoslovakia. And it also seems that Gabriella is working on a new book as well, which is very exciting. So with that, Gabriella, feel free to begin.
Hi, everybody. I was just a young girl when the World War II started. I was 8 years old. Before the war, we lived in a peaceful, democratic country, very similar than we are living here today. In our wildest dreams, we could not have imagined what will happen, but it did. My parents had to move from their nice apartment, and they moved to my father's warehouse, one-room place. There was no room for my grandmother anymore. She used to live with us. She raised me. My mother was working with my dad. I loved her dearly. We did beautiful things before the war. She took me everywhere, swimming. ice skating, whatever you just can imagine, with my friends, without my friends. I loved her, I adored her. Then we did not know what is waiting for us in 1938. When the Kristallnacht happened, let me show you a few things here that I prepared for you. I just want to explain you what the Holocaust means. It means 6 million Jewish people were murdered. Also 5 million non-Jewish people, like homosexuals, handicapped, gypsies, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Christians who were politically against Hitler regime. Altogether, 11 million people died between 1941 and 1945. That means daily 7,500 people died because they were murdered. What was the biggest tragedy? What happened here in United States on our soil? Then September 11. About 3,000 people were killed. And this was a one-time event, that horrible, horrible thing. And this happened every day for 4 years. 7,500 people daily died. I made a sculpture about the 11 million people. You see the columns with the leaves. It represents the people, because the falling leaf from a tree is not alive. And I'm using as a symbol for people who were murdered. And the other column, screaming faces the last minute before their death. And I have in between the columns, the handicapped, the courageous resistors, Christians who politically were against the Hitler regime, Jehovah's Witnesses, gypsies, and homosexuals. 11 million people. In Slovakia, 90,000 Jewish people lived. In 1942, 60,000 were deported. From 60,000 people, 230 people returned. That means statistically from 1,000 people, 4 people survived. That was the worst statistics in whole Europe. That's me, about 6-year-old, a very happy child, always laughing, smiling. Here I am about 11. Nobody could make me smile. Hard times of the Holocaust. That's my parents' store. My dad is in the middle. My mom and me on the right. That's my 10-year-old birthday party. I am on the far right. These are my friends. I am the only one who survived. I lost all my friends, every one of them. This is my mom joining the underground, the Slovak resistance. This is a gentleman who was the contact to the resistance with my mother. My mother received from one of the policemen. I didn't mention that my parents' store, the delicatessen, was next to the police station. And because of the location, they knew every policeman. So one of the policemen gave my mother a list of the people who will be taken away a certain night. And Jonas Eckstein, the contact to the resistance, every night came over and received the list. They divided it between themselves and went to caution people that tonight, for sure, at this address, they will come and take you away. My mother took me with her many, many times. We had a curfew in Slovakia against Jewish people. After 6 p.m., we were not supposed to be on the street. We took off the Star of David from our clothes, and we hoped that my mom, with a young girl, won't be stopped. And I will never forget when we went to my mother's cousin. She was on the list, so was her old mother, her husband, their 4-year-old little boy was on the list, my second cousin. And when we told them that tonight for sure they will come and take you away, go somewhere, hide somewhere, do something. And they started to cry and they told us, we cannot find a place to go anymore. We went from one place to another already, and hopefully we will work and survive. And we never saw them again. My mother next day went to the railroad station where they were putting the people on the trains. My mother knew the commander. His name was Vashina. He was a neighbor of my parents, a very good friend. And she approached him and begged him to give the little boy to her. What do you need him? He cannot work. I can take care of him. He looked down at her and he said, if you don't disappear this minute, I will put you in the wagons too. This was a friend. Yeah. This is how people were changed. I was put in a convent run by nuns. This is Sister Angelica. She was my teacher. I did not have her picture until recently. About 2 years ago, USC Shoah Foundation picked me up, took me to Slovakia. A crew of 7 was waiting there, and they took me everywhere where I was during the war and filmed me. It will be a documentary for future generation. When we won't be here anymore to teach about what happened in the Holocaust. And the archivist approached me and showed me thousands of pictures and said, find yourself. And I was looking and looking. I did not find myself. But suddenly I saw my teacher. I said, this is Sister Angelica. The young nun had no idea how Sister Angelica looked. So she started to look through her remarks. Like, she said, you are right. This is Sister Angelica. I said, yes, can I have her picture? So here it is. She was a lovely, lovely nun. I was 3 years in the convent. I had false papers. The nuns were covered on the paper. I am not sure who knew, what knew, but I was there. Only the first year I was also in the boarding school. I cried a lot. I cried myself to sleep every night. A year later, when my mother came and when she saw my cried out eyes, she decided she will take me for the night wherever she will be, and in morning I will come to school if I can. So this is what I did next 2 years. My mother was very well informed, and she knew that Germany will come and occupy Slovakia. So we went in complete hiding. A gentleman named Karol Blanar lived in this house on the right. Across the street was the Slovak Gestapo, Hlinková Garda. I saw them marching from, you can see that, marching Slovak, like Gestapo. Terrible, terrible sight. I was hidden there. Karol Blanar for 9 months, 9 very long months. And if you can imagine yourself, I was 13 at this time. I had to sit on a chair. I couldn't move around. I couldn't speak. For 9 months, Karol Blanar brought me books. He couldn't bring me books for a young girl. Everybody was watched. So he brought me history books, heavy books to read for a 13-year-old. But these books gave me hope. I was reading books about wars, about World War I, all kind of different wars. And I decided in myself, every war finished. It lasts long, but one day it will be over. And this gave me the hope for the future. I am convinced that this helped me kind of keep my smiling nature with me. So in the 9 months, reading and reading, and I have to tell you something. Everything can be taken away, even the clothes what you wear, everything. But nobody can take you away, but you put in your head. Don't forget this. That's a lifetime thing. Karol Blanar received the certificate of honor from Yad Vashem in Jerusalem as the righteous person as the righteous person in the nations. And also his parents were included because they were hiding my grandmother. This is my sculpture about my hiding, hidden in the shadow of death. You see the German boots marching in front of it. These are the people who were with me, my mother and my father, and I was the only child to my parents, my aunt, 2 uncles, and 2 friends of my parents. They all survived, thanks to Karol Blanar. Our last possessions. First, they took away our citizenship, and then they took away our jobs, and then our apartments. And when they took people to the camp, they allowed them to take with them a small luggage. When they arrived in the camp and they stepped down from the train, the first thing what they took away was the last thing from home, the little luggage. 12 windows to the unforgettable past. First window, I'm showing here a swastika. But the world was silent. Swastika was coming. Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass, November 9, 1938, all over Germany and Austria. They were burning Jewish synagogues. Hundreds of them burned to ground, thousands put on fire. They were breaking into Jewish store windows, throwing out religious objects on the street and burning. And they started to take Jewish men to camp. That was the beginning of Holocaust, 9 months before the World War II started. And there was a window of opportunity to let children out from Germany, Austria, Czechoslovakia, and Poland. But the world did not open their gates to let them in. The only place was England, and they saved 10,000 children.
They did.
I always thought, never asked, that they wanted to send me for the kinder transport, because this is the time when I got my first English lesson. Private lessons, and they continued until we went in complete hiding. But I was 8-year-old. I didn't understand why I am learning English, but I'm convinced that this was the reason. So the kinder transport was very close to my heart. And I was going from one museum to another, and I did not see here in United States a word about it. And it bothered me. And I decided to do something about it. I made a sculpture. It's 15 feet. In the windows of the trains, I have the real pictures of the children. I have over 600 faces in the windows. And you see the cattle car. This is where the parents went, the other way to the camps. 95% of the children never saw their parents again. Just imagine the parent putting the child on the train from 2-year-old to age 17. Is the thought never will be able to see the child again. I was working on it. And I'm also a docent in the museum. And another docent came to me. Her name is Michelle Gold. She later became a good friend of mine. She approached me and she asked me, can I help you? And I was so overwhelmed with correspondence to the owners of these pictures. I said, yes. And she was from England, had connections there, and was able to correspond with people and knew where to approach different organizations. So she was working to get me the pictures, and I was working on the sculpture. And when we were ready, we looked around and we had so much material with stories of these children. We decided to put it in a book. Michelle is the author. Here on the left, this is Michelle's mom, she was 16-year-old. She lost both parents. And this is Michelle on the right. And I am the artist. I did the sketches in the book, and it's based on my sculpture, and Michelle is the author. These are the bunk beds in the concentration camp. Just imagine a twin-size bed, 4 to 5 people sleeping in it. When one turned, everybody had to turn around. Starving prisoner. Death march. When the people in the camp heard the shootings of the Allies, and they thought in a day or two we will be free, the Germans opened the gates and started to march people to another camp. It was the middle of January, freezing cold European winter. People didn't have proper shoes, proper clothes, no food, no water. More than half of the people died in the death march, just few months before end of the war. Forced labor, heavy physical work, silent scream. A child is leaving mother hand, cannot reach it. And on the top, Shema Israel, that means this is the last prayer that Jewish people pray before their death. Gate of Auschwitz, written on it. Arbeit macht frei. The work makes you free. What an irony behind these gates. I'm going every year for the March of the Living with students from Los Angeles delegation, 18-old, about 220 of them. I am one of the survivors who speak to them, spend time to the students, answer their questions, and make them understand what's happened on this land and in these camps. Railroads going to the gas chambers. That's Birkenau. The Germans took away from us everything, also the wedding rings. And as precise they are, they created and cataloged everything. This is my last in this collection. This is a mountain of Jewish stars, mountain of dead people. And from all this horror came out state of Israel. And I have there a cactus. You know why a cactus? Because everybody who is born in Israel is called Sabra. And Sabra is the fruit of the cactus, prickly outside and sweet inside. It's after liberation. We went every day to the railroad station, looking for a familiar face, not be able to recognize people. People looked like skeletons. And I was standing there. I was 14 years old. And I was thinking in myself, how can I live a normal life? What I see today, what I went through, is it possible? And I decided in myself, Hitler did not get my body and he will not get my soul. I will smile and I will be happy. And I am. This is my family. 75 people were killed in Holocaust. I made falling leaves because a leaf that falls down is not alive. And I wrote names of family members who got killed in Holocaust. Sculpture. I call it shimmering leaves, perished families. It represents the 6 million Jewish people. The leaves are falling. The whole thing is rotating. And I sold it 2 years ago to University Laverne. They built an interface building, and it's the only sculpture in this building, in the lobby, rotating there. And I have few sculptures I want to show you. This is the past, the Holocaust. This is the present. Stop the hate. And this is the future. Children holding hands around the globe. Let's make it the future. It's up to us, up to all of us, to make a better world for all of us, step by step. This is the global pandemic. Wearing mask, you know, in a way, it means freedom because we are all in it.
Pandemic.
No exceptions. And use a butterfly. I have all kinds of signs. I have Jewish stars. I have the railroad tracks, leaves, screaming faces. Because from the ugly cocoon comes a beautiful butterfly. It's a hope for all of us, for a better world. I have a colorful butterflies. I'm selling on my website butterflies. This is my book, Trauma, Memory, and the Art of Survival. Also available on my website. GabriellaKarin.com. What is this crick-cracks here? I hope you don't see it. The agony of the Holocaust. This is my last sculpture, and I will put it on the cover of my new album that I will put all my Holocaust related sculpture. I want to have it in a kind of coffee table size. What's that? Can you see this? Red lines? Oh, I only see it.
Yes,
No,
I can see the Gabriella, but they're not very distracting.
Okay. I want to leave you with Albert Einstein's word. The world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. Thank you for listening.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gabriella, for this deeply personal and profound story. I really appreciate you being here today. I apologize if there's background noise. Everyone is welcome to begin asking questions either in the chat, or you can wait for a pause and you can unmute yourself and ask your own question aloud. We have one question in the chat currently. And Jan asks you, Gabriella, if you had any relatives who did survive.
If I have relatives who did, yes, my parents, my mom and my dad. And since I was the only child, our small family did survive.
Oh, that's wonderful, Gabriella. I'm so glad for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm lucky.
Barbara, would you like to ask?
Gabriella, my mother was born in Prague.
Oh.
And came here with her family as a little girl early in the 1900s. And I'd like to give you a word of greeting that I hope I'm saying it right. I think it's a greeting, jak si máš.
Oh, mam sa dobre.
Dobře.
Did you understand? Do you understand what I've said?
I think you responded to my question, jak si máš is like, hello, how are you, is what I understood.
Yeah, how are you actually? Word by word. And I answered that, thank you.
Thank you. And your presentation was very moving. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I have another question. Where did you live after the war?
Great question. Well, I went back to school in Slovakia. I became a fashion designer. I got married when I was 17.
Oh
With my husband, we went to live in Israel. We lived there 11 years. My son was born there. He was 2 years old when we moved to Los Angeles. And it's the only child I have, a little boy, not so little anymore, quite big and tall. And I was a fashion designer all my life. I had a good job here in Los Angeles. And
thank you.
About it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, Lori has a question, and I think Lori is asking whether at the time that train cars, were deporting people, was it your knowledge that they were taking people to work camps, or did you know that they were going to be harmed and murdered?
We had no idea. We thought they are taking them for work. The only thing what we couldn't understand why they take little children and old people, and that made us uneasy about the situation. But we did not, in our fantasy, we could not imagine that they have gas chambers, that they murder people like that. We knew only, we knew something is going on because my father came from a small town in north of Slovakia, and they had a cemetery, what they called some kind of a garden. I don't know what was the other word, garden something. And in Auschwitz, there was one girl working in the office from this town, and they allowed them to send postcards. That was open and they could read it, and she wrote like that: I'm having a wonderful time here. This went to the gardens, and this went to the gardens too, and this went, and she wrote names of people who were murdered. And when my father read it, he said, what's going on? Everybody is dead? So this is how much we knew.
Dr. Waller is curious about what happened to the man who concealed you and your family after the war. What happened to him?
Well, after war, he was a lawyer, 25 years young. And after war, he wrote a couple of articles against communism. And when the communists took over, he had to leave the country. We got a word, he made it over the border, but then we lost track.
Yes.
When I became an adult, I felt I want to find him. I want to thank him. I was a kid. I didn't really express how I felt about his heroic thing, a 25-year young man hiding, risking his life for 8 strangers. And I started to look for him. I contacted organizations. I looked through every phone book I could put my hands on. We knew that he made it over the border because we got a word about it. So he could be anywhere in the world. When I came to United States, I gathered all kinds of phone books from all over the United States. I could not find him. One day I was in theater here in Los Angeles. And as I went out, I thought it was him in a car driving. He didn't notice me. He was watching his road. And I started to run after the car. Well, you know how long I could run after the car. I came home. I got more books all around Los Angeles, surrounding area. I didn't find him. Well, when I got my first computer, The first thing what I did, I Googled him. Nothing. I remember here the brother, Vincent Blanard. I put his name in, and he came up. Vincent Blanard, university professor, wrote about 25 books, a linguist. Phone number, address, everything was there. I went to the phone. I didn't look if it's midnight or what. I got so excited. I called. He picks up the phone. I tried to introduce myself. I said, I remember you, he tells me. Oh, good. Just tell me where is Carol. Then Carol got married. He lived in Dublin, Ohio, but he died in 1980. So here I was, years and years later, missing the opportunity to thank him. So I asked him, do you know where he's buried? The only thing I can do for him to visit his grave. He had no idea. This time, communist countries, they could not correspond, and he didn't know where he's buried. I called up every cemetery around Dublin, Ohio. I did not find him. One day I was speaking in the Holocaust Museum, LA. A gentleman approached me and said, I am very good finding people like that. Just give me some details. I sent him everything I know. He found him the next day in Columbus, Ohio, in an unmarked grave. I got so upset. A person who saved 8 people's life, risking his life, got the honor from Yad Vashem for what he did as a righteous person among the nation, and didn't have a name on his grave. I called the cemetery and I asked them, please look it up. 35 years later, tell me what happened. They did, and they told me nobody was there, only the priest. Nobody paid. So there is no marker on the grave. So I said, you know, I am ordering a marker right now. And I want to have written on it, a righteous person among the nations. When they were putting the marker on the grave, I went there with my grandson. And if you want to hear my goodbye speech, go on my website and you can find it there. My grandson, who went with me, has a movie camera and recorded it. So you can see, hear it.
Wow, it's just incredible. I'm sorry that you missed the chance to speak to him personally, but I'm glad that you got to connect with his brother and ultimately find his resting place. Carol had wondered what you would have said to him if you'd found him, but Carol, it seems like you can go to Gabriella's website to read that speech. So this relates nicely to a question that I have, which is, you know, I'm sure there was so many people and possessions that got lost by many survivors of the Holocaust. And so I noticed that earlier in your presentation, you were sharing photos of your childhood. So I'm curious, how did your family keep track of those? Did your parents bring them with you while you were in hiding?
When we were hiding, we were together at Carol Blanard, my parents and me, and my aunt and my 2 uncles. They were not there all the time because they when we ran out of money to buy food or anything. We didn't pay Carol Blanard, but we needed food. We were 8 people there. He got a job on the railroad station as a waiter. And one day somebody recognized him, called the Gestapo to pick him up. He returned. It was already maybe 2 months before end of the war for us. We got liberated in April, actually on my father's birthday, because we always said, oh, on my birthday in November, my mother's birthday. Always birthdays, you know, we will be free, we will be free. We never talked about my father's birthday. My father was April, next year, April. It was so far. And we got free on his birthday.
Wonderful. I'm sorry, I think my question was a little confusing, which that was very informative in and of itself. But I was trying to ask, how did your family keep together some of your personal belongings, like those family photos that you shared in your presentation while you were hiding?
We don't have too many things, but photos was very, very important for my mom. She had a little box, not albums, and it was there thrown out inside the box. Actually, I inherited the box, and I tried to ID on every that I could recognize, because some didn't have any names. But I really didn't know. I decided nobody would know in the world who they were, and I got rid of them. But maybe I shouldn't have, but I did, because I felt nobody will know who they are. But I did quite a lot and put them in albums, so made it more organized. But we didn't have too many things. I have a little purse that my mother made when she was 16, and it's needlepoint, but very tiny. It's, I think, petit point cord. We didn't have anything, you know, when we got free. No money. Actually, what happened was my father hid 500 crowns in his store behind the shelf in an envelope with a push pin behind the shelves. When we got free, we went to the store to look. Everything was broken up. The things were on the floor, big mess. The Russians are awful. They destroy everything. Especially they were liquors and wines, and so they got drunk probably, and everything was broken up. My father went, he reached behind the shelf, and the 500 crowns were there. So it helped us for a few weeks to buy food. But we didn't have anything, no furniture, no. It's, you know, starting again. My parents were in the early 40s, and we got free.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you have those few photos at least. Tyler asks if there is one thing that you would want people to know or to learn from your story, what would that be?
Well, I think that it doesn't matter what color your eyes are, what color your skin is, what colors your hair is, We are all the same people. And we don't have to love everybody, but we have to respect every person in this world.
Yes, that is certainly.
We can change the world. We can change it together, one by one, baby steps. And we will do it. Let's make a better world for all of us to live here in peace. And the children and grandchildren should have a better world.
Yes, those are timelessly important words. We still have some time left. Does anyone else have questions? Would anyone like to voice their question aloud?
I would like to comment on the story told by the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. I spent several hours there with my wife and was as emotionally affected by that as by Gabriella's story. Has Gabriella been to that museum, and how well does she think the story is told in that Holocaust Museum?
I was there actually invited to speak. They had 160 educators, and they wanted me to speak to them. It was a couple of years ago, and it was in person, not on Zoom. That's probably better. I don't know. Actually, I think that's a great solution in our times right now, that we have this Zoom opportunity to see each other, to hear each other. And hopefully in future, we can see each other in person.
My parents immigrated from Berlin in 1938. And then later, after my mother passed away, my father remarried somebody who had been in camp. There was always a struggle in our family about remembering and recollecting and telling the stories, horrible though they are, and forgetting and trying to forget in the sense of not having to relive. Can you talk a little bit? I mean, I congratulate you for the shape that your remembering has taken, but can you talk a little bit about the people you know and your own struggles with forgetting and remembering?
Well, I meet hundreds of survivors, but these are people who speak from both of the museums. I know some people have a hard time to talk about it. I also did not speak about it for years myself. Actually, it started with my sculptures. When I started to do sculptures, I started only after my retirement. I didn't have any idea how to work clay, how to make a sculpture. I went back to school after I retired and I learned how to do it. But I didn't start to make things about Holocaust. It didn't even occur to me that I will. I started to do, I had grandchildren, little cute kids, doing different things, you know, being on floor, trying to get the sister of the chair, the two boys, and all kind of things. And I started to do that. One day there was in London a trial against Irving, David Irving, who was a professor and denied the Holocaust. And he was put on trial there. And I was so upset. Somebody dares to deny a fact, a historical fact. How can this be? I said, oh, there are so many books writing about it. I have to make something visual. Maybe people will understand it more. So I made my first sculpture, and it was so hard on me. When I finished, it was about Holocaust in general. It's today in the Museum of Tolerance. And I thought I will never do it again. But one day I woke up and I said, well, I should make a sculpture about my hiding. So I did. It's in Slovakia. Now, then I had to make about the nuns, and so on and so on. And now I have a whole collection. So it really pulled me out to speak about it. Because when I had a couple of sculptures, I was invited to make a show and to talk about it. I even told my son, I have to speak. I'm not a speaker. He said, Mom, it's your life. You can talk about it. I said, maybe you are right. I know my life. Right? I don't have to learn it. I don't have to study it. I know it. So I understand very well that not everybody can talk about it. It's so deep, it's so hard. You really have to pull it out of a person. I understand your relatives that they had a hard time with it.
Any more questions? Feel free to speak up. Okay, Marna has a question, which is, she's asking, are you concerned that this lesson in history will be lost to future generations because of the fact that there are so few survivors left?
USC Shaw Foundation is doing a great job for posterity to have it filmed. I was one of the first one to make the documentary. I don't know if it's finished or not because of the pandemic. It was just before that. So, but it will be finished. And it's not important if it's finished now, but it's important that it will be done. The idea was, since I'm going on the March of the Living, I was already 8 times. And so they should have something like a film about the person who used to be here and showing what happened. So I'm hoping also the younger generation is trying to, children and grandchildren, trying to speak instead of us. I don't think my grandchildren will. My granddaughter, who always said, I will talk for you, passed away at age 25. So we won't have her. And the boys are too busy with their lives. But I know that there are a lot of third generation that try to take over.
So a lot of people are curious about your art. So you talked about the first sculpture that you made relating to the Holocaust and how difficult for you that was. When was it that you made that first one?
I think it was 94. I retired 92 and I went to school, and about a year later, just around there.
And Carol would like to know, I think you mentioned earlier, Gabriella, that you speak with other survivors. Kind of under what contexts does that take place? At events, or do you have close relationships with other survivors?
Both things. You know, we are invited to galas. Not now. Now it's everything virtual. But before we met in person. We are invited to dinners or in museums. Then like 100 survivors participate. Or we meet one-on-one. I have friends, survivors. When we are together, we usually don't talk about our experience. We know each other's stories. But, it's too hard to socialize with telling our story. But we do that too. If you are in a closer relation, then sometimes comes up something, a certain moment in the war that brings up some part of it. There is a new thing when they started. I was invited to it. It started with words. That it didn't start with camps and with Auschwitz and with gas chambers. It started with words. That's a good idea, because unfortunately, words can hurt really badly. So we will say like a moment in history that personally touched us.
Any last questions for Gabriella? Okay, thank you so much, Gabriella, for sharing your time with us and your story. Dr. Waller, I'll hand it over back to you, but I also have the Senior Ambassadors Program announcement. So do you want me to do that first or?
Yes, why not?
Okay, so if any of you enjoyed tonight, then you might also enjoy another program that we have that again is a partnership between those three groups that Dr. Waller introduced at the beginning. A team of MSU students, faculty, and staff, and also City of East Lansing staff, last year piloted a program called the Senior Ambassadors Program. And basically what we do is partner MSU students with local seniors for friendly interaction and social engagement. Last year it was all over Zoom because of the pandemic, but we're hoping maybe we can have some in-person opportunities this year. And so if that is something that you would be interested in being matched with a student and getting to know each other, then you can put your email address in the chat and I can send you some more information. We have a wonderful team of students that do all kinds of orientation sessions and can give you informational material so you can learn more about the program. It's really a partnership between the university and the city of Lansing. We're trying to, get these two groups of people who might not normally interact to do so and to form intergenerational relationships to help make the city a more age-friendly place for everyone. So, like I said, if you're interested, feel free to put your email address in the chat and we can send you more information.
Thank you, Emily. I think as Irv and maybe a few others could attest, the Senior Ambassadors has been a real success so far. So I do encourage you to leave your email address and Emily will contact you or another member of the team. So I just wanted to say in closing, as many have said already, Gabriella, that was a wonderful presentation, and it's a profound honor for us to be able to hear from you this evening. So thank you so much. I will send another email out with the link where you can purchase Gabriella's book, and like I did, if you order it through her website, then she will sign it and then mail it to you. I'll also send a link to the Holocaust Museum of Los Angeles if anybody would like to make a donation to an institution that Gabriella has been very strongly committed to for many years. So again, Gabriella, thank you so much indeed. And I wish everybody a wonderful evening and hope to see you back here at the same time next Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gabriella, please keep in touch about your new book.
About?
Please let me know when your new book is available.
Oh, the new book?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to put it all together and maybe in a couple of months, I think.
Great.
It's, until it's published. So, okay.
Yes.
I will put it on my website.
Okay, super. Okay. And let's stay in touch. And it would be great for one day you to come up here.
Okay. Yeah, that would be nice. I like to travel, but
Yes, but safely, yes. And it was nice to see that Eric joined the presentation, Eric Gerson.
thank you, thank you.
All right. And yeah, thank you, Emily.